Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Andy Smith. I'm the President and CEO at Sunnybrook Health Sciences Center. We are gathered here today on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and ancestral and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, Chippewa, and Wendat nations. Today, it is still home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in this community, in this territory. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us here today for the announcement. It is an extraordinary pleasure for me to be able to welcome the Honorable Stephen Lecce, Minister of Energy and Mines, the Honorable Vic Fedeli, Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, and MPP Michelle Cooper. Michelle, always great to have you here at Sunnybrook, and Parliamentary Assistant Rudy Cazzetto. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to James Skoniak, Chair of the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Facility, or Council rather. Thank you all very much for being here with us today. At Sunnybrook, we care for the province's sickest patients when it matters most. Our Odette Cancer Centre is home to game-changing radiation technologies that enable Sunnybrook to provide individualized, precision care to patients that have few options. These groundbreaking therapies use the power of medical isotopes to improve patient outcomes and advance leading-edge research to invent the future of healthcare. I'd now like to call on the Honorable Stephen Lecce, Minister of Energy and Mines.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here with you all today. I just want to say, as a first principle, it's nice to be at Sunnybrook. We are honored to be with so many leaders in space, in medicine, in technology, in science, and innovation, and of course, nuclear medicine that is leading the way for treatments. As you know, cancer has touched nearly every Canadian parent, a friend, a colleague, or even yourself. Every year, this year, over 247,000 Canadians are going to be diagnosed with cancer. 2 out of every 5 of us will be diagnosed too. And this isn't just a statistic, it's a call to action. And it means earlier diagnosis and better treatment and advanced technologies and frankly, more hope. Because when it comes to cancer, standing still is not an option. I think about my own family story. My mom was a patient of cancer here at Sunnybrook, the Odette Cancer Center. And I will tell you, the medical staff, some of whom are behind us today, did a superb job of demonstrating just incredible kindness and decency. We saw it firsthand. But too many Canadians will go through that journey. And it is not a pleasant experience. And knowing that there are leading edge scientific breakthroughs that are happening in Ontario that are literally saving lives is very powerful. Some years later, after 2019, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. Most recently, my father was diagnosed. And so, this story unfortunately resonates with a lot of Canadians, but we're here to give hope to everyone who's fought cancer and for those that may in the future, that there are treatments and solutions, that there is a path to recovery using the best of nuclear science. Medical isotopes are one of the most valuable tools doctors have available to diagnose and to treat cancer. They are produced in Ontario's nuclear reactors. They are essential to the treatment and diagnosis of cancer and to sterilize medical equipment too. Ontario is a global leader in producing them. Over 40 million medical procedures rely on isotopes every single year around the world. And they are life-saving innovations. And they start right here at home. Now, I want to just take a moment to pause to express gratitude to the task force, to our chair, to James, who's been leading the way, to the medical doctors and clinicians and scientists and researchers, all of whom are with us today. This incredible panel of leaders are helping to literally discover and harvest the best ideas in medical science to save generations of lives, to change those statistics we talked about earlier today. And I also want to recognize my parliamentary colleagues, Minister Fedeli, who's been leading the work on life sciences, Rudy Cazzetto, who's been at every single nuclear isotope announcement in Bruce, at Darlington, in the future at Pickering, and likewise at all of our future can-do investments and expansions. This man has been working the way. And Michelle Cooper, who of course is an amazing new member for the people of Eglinton Lawrence and someone who has also been touched by cancer. She's known at Sunnybrook as an advocate for publicly funded healthcare. So thank you. And thank you all for joining us today. Many notable stakeholders are with us today. Now, thanks to them and to the medical teams and to Ontario's world-class nuclear advantage and leadership in science, we're not just participating in the fight against cancer, but we are driving it here at home. To deliver 24/7 operations, we invested over $22 million to expand isotope research and production capacity at McMaster Nuclear Reactor. We produce half of the world's supply of cobalt-60. This is a critical isotope used to treat head, neck, cervical cancers and to sterilize essential medical tools. But we're not stopping there. Ontario's leading the global charge in production of lutetium-177 for targeted cancer therapy, Moly-99 for diagnostic imagery, detecting diseases in bones, hearts, kidneys, and more. And with major nuclear refurbishments at Darlington and Pickering underway, a new generation of projects are on the horizon. We have a generational opportunity to scale up production, to save more lives, and yes, to grow our economy too. Ontario is delivering results, and for patients, and for families, and for our future. And that's why I'm proud to announce that our government has launched the Nuclear Isotope Innovation Council of Ontario, or NICO as it will henceforth be known, with a bold mission to double Ontario's isotope production by 2030. And they will work to develop new isotopes in pharmaceutical treatments to continue our excellence and leadership in this space. I've also asked the panel to look for ways to create new opportunities for Indigenous communities and Ontario's nuclear operators across the isotope supply chain. That's just one side of this coin. The NICO will also evaluate ways to enhance public communication and the awareness of medical isotopes and the role they play in our nuclear reactors and the supply chain. This team of experts will lead the effort and offer strategic recommendations to help Ontario double our production of medical isotopes to save lives across the province, our country, and the world. This goal is set to be achieved within the next 4 years, 2030, a period of ambition as our province scales up. And through the leadership of this council, we're going to make sure that across the globe that they know Ontario's potential when it comes to cancer-fighting isotopes. And we're going to keep looking for ways to collaborate with the federal government to grow export opportunities for these made in Ontario medical isotopes and to help attract further investment and jobs to our province. I've tasked them with delivering an initial report by September, outlining concrete steps to grow our production capacity, to advance innovation, and really make Ontario a further global isotope superpower. And we are leading with purpose and partnership and a plan to save lives. And I am so very proud to work with them and the work we are doing in Ontario to help save lives by spearheading critical health innovations that were part of Ontario's integrated energy plan. Now, with expert guidance from the task force, we're ready to take the next step, driving cutting-edge research, scaling production, solidifying our position as a global leader in medical isotope production. And Ontario is taking bold action, as I mentioned, to yes, save lives and to lead in health innovation. And I think the results are speaking for themselves. With unmatched nuclear expertise and game-changing investments and the launch of this incredible task force, we're driving the future of life-saving medical isotopes. We are creating jobs, we're growing our economy, and most importantly, given our own personal stories with cancer, we're helping to save lives and give hope. And it's Ontario's moment. It's our moment to lead, and I think we are seizing it together. So I look forward to your insights. I look forward to your strategic advice on how we can work to advance our international competitiveness in the space, to grow the industry, and to fight for cancer patients at home and abroad. So I thank you. I thank you all meaningfully for the work you're undertaking for your public service. And I now introduce a dear friend and someone who's been leading the way on building out that new economy and life sciences, the Honourable Vic Fedeli, Minister of Job Creation and Trade. Thanks so much.
Well, good Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Minister Lecce, for that introduction and for all the great work that you're doing in this field, and to my colleagues as well for all of the great work, and for our guests for everything that you're doing. The minister has tasked you with a great project for the next 4 years, and as we know each other, we know that you're going to be able to deliver for the minister very, very, very well. So we're very excited by that. It's an honor to be here today, especially to meet back up with Dr. Smith and Dr. Segal to recognize yet another milestone moment in Ontario's life sciences sector. It's an unfortunate truth that cancer is indiscriminate in its nature, but it really bonds, as Minister Lecce said, so many of us here. But this collective experience has also come with a collective hope. Medical isotopes continue to be one of the most consequential tools that doctors have available to diagnose and treat cancer. And Ontario is proud to stand at the forefront of that production. Ontario's excellence in the life sciences sector is rooted in a long and storied history of discovery and innovation. We discovered insulin. We developed the first cardiac pacemaker. We detected the gene that causes cystic fibrosis. We identified the Alzheimer's genes. And more recently, we've seen great success in using stem cells to stop and potentially cure diseases. So today, our province is recognized as the largest life sciences jurisdiction in all of the country, and our leadership in medical isotope production and innovation has garnered the province a global reputation as a nuclear isotope superpower. Fueled by over 140 isotope companies, Ontario is uniquely positioned to become the #1 North American supplier in global nuclear medicine supply chain. Now, beyond revolutionizing the way we diagnose, treat, and heal patients, medical isotopes also hold vast economic potential. By 2031, it is estimated that the nuclear medicine market will add $33 billion, that's in USD, to the global economy. And with Canada already producing approximately 50% of the world's medical isotopes, the opportunities this growth poses for our regional ecosystems is, quite frankly, is unprecedented in what it will deliver. Now, as a government, we recognize the importance of supporting the nuclear isotope and life sciences sectors so that breakthroughs continue to be discovered, developed, and commercialized right here in Ontario. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, we launched the Taking Life Sciences to the Next Level, an all-of-government strategy focused on improving responsiveness to current and future health challenges, promoting better outcomes for patients, and driving innovation in Canada's healthcare sector. Now, the strategy included a Life Science Council, so I will say thank you to James for your work on the Life Science Council. I see Kevin back there. Thank you for your work on the Life Science Council as well. The strategy that they developed set out a clear vision: build up our life sciences sector by securing commercial scale manufacturing capacity and supply chains while improving manufacturing readiness of Ontario's small and medium-sized business. That's a hell of a mouthful, but it really does say one of the main features that came out of the Life Science Council. It focuses on advancing research and development, unlocking new streams of capital, and supporting the existing ecosystem by enhancing our province's value proposition. Our collective ecosystem, built upon critical investments by our government and in partnership with hospitals, academic institutions, and companies, has served as both the foundation and the architect of the progress made to date. In Hamilton, of course, McMaster University and the Centre for Probe Development and Commercialization anchor the region's growing commercial expertise in radiopharmaceutical development. Having spun out of AtomV, Global Pharma and Fusion Pharmaceuticals, Inc., now a subsidiary, as you know, of AstraZeneca, big takeover there. They are using Ontario-made isotopes to create next-generation medicines for cancer treatments. Ontario's Actinier, a joint venture between Canadian Nuclear Labs, Chalk River, and Germany's ITM, is collaborating with Saskatchewan's Frederick Centre to establish a stable supply of actinium-225 for the global market. These are all exciting things that are happening. In Etobicoke, our government's AMIC program proudly sponsored Connectrix as they expanded their manufacturing of medical isotopes critical in the treatment of a growing number of cancers, including prostate and neuroendocrine tumors. In the face of rising uncertainty, our message to Ontario's life sciences community remains clear. We, collectively, will not let the momentum of the sector's growth falter. Through the launch of the Nuclear Isotope Innovation Council of Ontario, our government is reinforcing Ontario's leadership in radioisotope production and innovation and ensuring that cancer patients of all ages can benefit from reliable access to cutting-edge treatments. We really look forward to working with the Council to protect the progress we've made and now to scale our isotope ecosystem to even greater heights. Now we want to welcome James Scagnac, the chair of the Nuclear Isotope Innovation Council, to share a few words.
Well, the two ministers said it best, but there's really a few key thoughts that I want to share today. Firstly, a very exciting day for Ontario and Canada, and frankly for patients all over the world. I want to thank Andy and his team here at Sunnybrook. And Andy, this is such a large campus that I almost got lost this morning coming up to this area. But when I got lost in the hospital this morning, I saw all of the frontline healthcare professionals that are the real heroes. You know, oftentimes, whether you're a patient or a loved one of somebody who is battling cancer, it's these frontline healthcare professionals that we count at to be at their best when we're at a pretty challenging time in our lives. So, you know, it's always a reminder to me of why we're doing this, and I think the ministers said it best. The truth is that 40% of us in this room will get cancer in our lives, but 100% of us will be impacted, whether it's ourselves, our family members, our loved ones, our community. And fundamentally, whether it's here in Ontario, whether it's a country in Africa, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in the United States, whether it's in China, whether it's in Japan, our goal is to ensure that frontline healthcare professionals have the best tools to do their jobs. And medical isotopes are a very important tool in their toolbox to do that job, whether it's to keep our medical equipment clean, whether it's to diagnose cancer, whether it's to treat cancer. Medical isotopes are frankly the modern form of energy in a modern healthcare system. Doesn't mean it's a silver bullet that solves all, but it's one really critical tool in the toolbox. And that's why I want to thank the ministers and Michelle and Rudy for their leadership. You know, leadership is a choice. For over 50 years, Canada, and specifically the province here in Ontario, has been a world leader in medical isotopes. All of the things the ministers talked about, the infrastructure, the human capital, the network that we have something here in Ontario that nobody else in the world has. So not only is there an important opportunity for Ontario, there's an imperative for us to lead. So I always like to say the world is counting on Canada and the world is counting on Ontario. In addition to the elected officials behind me being great public servants, what I can tell you, having had the chance to work with them all, is they have big hearts. They want to make a difference, and this is what this is about today. And so I appreciate the ambition, but failure is not an option. There is no other jurisdiction in the world like Ontario that has the infrastructure, whether it's our reactor-based isotopes, our cyclotrons, our research institutions, the network of companies that the two ministers talked about, that have the ability to scale the way Ontario does. And I always remind myself, and this is a very important statistic I want you to keep in mind, 73 years ago, we carried out here in Ontario, London, Ontario, the first cobalt beam therapy. And we were so proud as Canadians that we produced a stamp that year. That's what we did back then when we were proud of something as Canadians. And by the way, it's not lost upon me that the last year has caused us as Canadians and Ontarians to really think about being Canadian and being Ontarian. We were so proud of that. And actually, that's a technology we wouldn't use today in London or Sunnybrook. But there's almost 2 billion people in the world today that do not have access to that treatment that Ontarians had 73 years ago in London, Ontario. And that just gives you a perspective that as all of us in the world have access to better diagnostics, better therapy, that somebody has to produce the medical isotopes. And just like when you flick the switch in the morning and you expect your light to turn on, when you are a frontline healthcare professional, you expect the isotopes to be there when you need it. So ministers, it's an honor to chair this council. We appreciate your leadership. I want to thank the team at the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council for their leadership, for leading this on a national basis, and will really work closely with this group in Ontario. And what's most important here in Ontario is that we bring together the best minds. We're always stronger when we're together. And I want to take this opportunity to introduce the members of this council, who, as I noted earlier, represent a very broad cross-section of what Ontario has to offer. We have Riaz Bendali. He's the President and Chief Executive Officer of Ottawa-based Nordion, who supplies almost over half of the world's cobalt-60 for the use of sterilization for brain tumors and breast cancer. You're going to hear from Dr. Segal in a minute about what that means to patients. My good friend, Dr. Rebecca Wong from the University Health Network, one of the leading experts, along with some of her other colleagues at UHN and here at Sunnybrook in the field of theranostics. Dr. Karen Stevenson from McMaster University. Kim Lorenzen from Ontario Power Generation. The minister talked about the important work of our Pickering and Darlington units. I'm always a little favor towards Bruce, but OPG, we're close colleagues, and we're proud to be part of that nuclear sector. And Kim, to you and your team at OPG, leading the world in that space. John D'Angelo, who's the president of Isogen, a framatome connectrix venture that has brought global leaders together to form Isogen. I also want to recognize a member of the panel, Chief Greg Nadjuan, from Nawash as part of the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. Chief Nadjuan has been a leading First Nations leader in Canada with not only his advocacy, but also finding opportunities for First Nations communities to be active participants in our leadership. And with Chief Nadjuan, we have, I don't know if we can call you Chief yet, Darlene, but incoming Chief Darlene Johnson. And so thank you both for your leadership and for being here today and supporting the panel. Dr. Doug Borum, formerly at McMaster University from the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. Dominic Novak, I'm still calling you President and CEO of the Ontario Medical Association, but you're the doctor of all doctors, so welcome to be here. And Vitrio Pupo, who's from BWXT Medical, who's working very closely with Kim's team at Ontario Power Generation to lead the world in diagnostics. And before I introduce the final member of the panel you're going to hear from next, this is what Team Ontario is all about. And I say leadership is a choice. And all of these panel members have decided to contribute their time to come together and bring practical solutions to the government. We have a role to play, the government has a role to play, and so ministers, we won't let you down. Frontline healthcare professionals, we won't let you down. We look forward to asserting this leadership position. And so with that, I would like to now pass the podium to another member of our council, Dr. Segal here from Sunnybrook Hospital, who again is a world leader in this space, in particular, who's going to talk about some of the work that is done with cobalt and theranostics here, but a good friend of this sector and just an amazing leader. So over to you, Arjun.
My name is Dr. Arjun Segal, Chief of the Department of Radiation Oncology at Sunnybrook Odette Cancer Center and dedicated brain and spine cancer physician. I'm also a member of the NICO group, and very proudly so. Sunnybrook Radiation Oncology is the largest program in Canada, offering cutting-edge treatments to patients across the province. I've been extremely fortunate to bring several radiation-specific technologies to Sunnybrook in Canada to offer patients the latest clinical trials and innovative treatment approaches when it matters most. These include the cobalt-60-based Gamma Knife Icon, Electa Unity MR-Linac, and an MR-guided brachytherapy suite dedicated to women's cancers to form the Sunnybrook Odette Cancer Ablation Therapy, or CAT program. The aim is to harness the precision therapies like these to destroy tumors without the need for invasive surgeries. With these technologies, many of which use medical isotopes, we have been able to push the boundaries for patients over the last decade. I'm also privileged to be part of a new innovation in cancer therapy known as radioligand treatments. These radioactive cancer-specific targeted molecules have huge potential to impact patients with multiple cancer types, and we've already seen major advances in prostate cancer and neuroendocrine tumors. It is an honor to be part of NICO and share my expertise so we can support patients and innovations in this space for Ontario. It is very important that physicians provide their perspective on how these treatments can help our patients to ensure that their voices are also heard. It is a great initiative and very needed, as these treatments can be life-saving, and we need to ensure equitable access for patients in Ontario with cancer. I'd like to thank Minister Lecce and the provincial government for their commitment to the nuclear isotope sector, and the Canadian Nuclear Isotope Council for their leadership. Together with NICO, we will work to advance life-saving medical isotopes across the province for patients when it matters most. Now, one of these patients is Evan Armit. He is receiving treatment right now with me as we work together in a coordinated way with Thunder Bay Regional Cancer Centre, Princess Margaret Cancer Centre, and ourselves here at the Odette Cancer Centre to bring this young man the latest therapy to try and save his life. I thank Evan, his family, and his mother Jen, who is here today. And I would like, without any further delay, for you to hear Evan's story and how our interdisciplinary team has come together to push forward brain treatments fundamentally based on medical isotopes to overcome the deadly disease of metastatic melanoma.
Hi everyone, my name is Evan Armit. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Dryden, Ontario. In 2024, I was diagnosed with a rare form of melanoma. At the time, I was playing NCAA hockey for my university team and on the dean's list studying business. Since then, I've been on a difficult journey and the cancer has spread throughout my body. I received amazing care in Thunder Bay, near where I live. But when the cancer spread to my brain, they called Dr. Segal and Sunnybrook for the advice on my complex case. Dr. Segal worked with my oncologist, Dr. Del Faggio, and once I was stable, I came to Sunnybrook for the cobalt-60 Gamma Knife radiosurgery to control the tumors in my brain. The Gamma Knife cobalt-60 brain treatments worked well, allowing me to go back home and have fun with my family and friends. However, the cancer came back in my brain, so I'm here again for more Gamma Knife treatments. My goal is to get a new melanoma treatment, but first, Sunnybrook has to treat my brain to be free from cancer and get stabilized. I continue to fight and do my treatments every day to give me the best chance of beating this, to be here with my amazing family and inspire others. Melanoma has had a big impact on my life, but it's also taught me to be grateful for all the special people in my life. I want to thank Dr. Segal and my entire health team at Sunnybrook for their skill, expertise, care, support, and compassion.
Well, thank you, Dr. Segal, for sharing that story, and Evan's mother, Jen, Thank you for being here, and thank you, Evan, for what you're doing. So Jen, I hear Evan is an awesome hockey player. And by the way, when people say Northern Ontario, they don't mean Orangeville. That's really Northern Ontario. And great to see two, whether it's Thunder Bay and Sunnybrook here, working together for families. So when we heard Evan was a great hockey player, our friends at MLSE gave us this jersey signed by Mitch Marner. By the way, I had this ordered before Mitch Marner was traded. But we know Evan is a hockey player. I know he's not able to be here today, but on behalf of all of us, we wanted to give him this signed jersey and to let him know we're with you and we're with him, and we look forward to seeing him on the ice again sometime soon. Thanks, Jen. The other person I want to recognize is Dr. Segal. So, Kim and her colleagues at OPG, I'm with Bruce Power, will recognize this, but Dr. Segal came to our site a number of months ago and engaged directly with our first line staff who are producing that cobalt. And he came up and gave them all a gift. And I said to the staff on site, I said, what is something that I could give Dr. Segal? And so if Dr. Segal could come up. We know he wears a lab coat, which is really cool. I'd love to wear a lab coat, but I'm not qualified to. Somebody may ask me to do something. Dr. Segal, we'd like to give you your very own Bruce Power Isotopes lab coat. So thank you very much for everything you do. Anybody that knows me knows I don't go anywhere without giving out some swag. So thank you very much for bearing with me on a very serious announcement. But it's very important to recognize these individuals for what they do. And with that, I will pass it over to the facilitator for questions from the media to the ministers.
We will now open up the floor to questions from the media. Please come up to the mic and state your name and outlet. As a reminder, it's one question, one follow-up. We'll start with our first reporter.
Hi, Minister Jeff Gray, Globe and Mail. I just wanted to ask you if you could tell us how much the government of Ontario is paying Elon Musk's Starlink to cancel the contract that it had signed.
We have canceled the contract and we're ongoing work to figure out a Canadian alternative.
The question was about how much money we're paying Starlink.
I can confirm we've canceled the contract at this point, and we look forward to bringing forth alternatives to the people of Ontario so that we can get people connected to that. 94% are connected, but we know there's more work to do.
So do taxpayers not deserve to know the amount of money that they're paying Elon Musk's Starlink company then?
I can confirm that the Premier has fulfilled his word, which is to cancel that contract because of the very reasons he's cited in the past. We are standing up for Canada. We have taken a clear position of ending American procurement. $30+ billion have been denied from the Canadian supply chain. American alcohols off the LCBO. And of course, in the energy sector, we are intentionally decoupling from America, working to incentivize Canadian alternatives. So more work to do, but I can confirm to the people of Ontario that we've fulfilled our commitment and the contract is canceled.
Hi, Alan Carter from City News. We know that in the United States, they do take medical isotopes from foreign suppliers. Can you give me a sense of how tariffs would impact the sale of isotopes that we would be developing here in Ontario?
I'll turn it over to Minister Fedeli just on the broad tariff point. But what I can say is we already are leading in this respect. I mean, we are the global hegemonic player in medical isotope production. But we are intentionally announcing today a plan to double production because the global markets need more of it. And frankly, statistics will suggest more Canadians will need these types of interventions and treatments. And this multidisciplinary approach of sort of synergizing between industry and research and science and medicine and government and of course the nuclear sector coming together with one cogent long-term vision of increasing production is very powerful. McMaster University, for example, has been doing amazing work on thyroid cancers. They've asked for many years to pretty much create a 24/7 operation. And we've, in the most recent budget, secured $20 million to deliver that for them. I think about the work happening at Bruce between the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, of course our chief is here, current and future, and Isogen. this is a really exciting partnership where actually we've been able to repatriate some of the processing from Europe back to Canada for the benefit of Ontario. And that's really important for breast and brain tumors. So these, like, you know, the point in short is we want to keep investing in the production and keep exporting this ingenuity to the world. It does create jobs, it does grow our economy, but most perhaps importantly today, it's going to save lives for Canadians and for those that James spoke about that don't have access to these important innovations. But I'll turn it to Minister Fedeli for the rest.
Just a little bit on the tariffs. Good morning, Alan. Good to see you again. A little bit on the tariffs. Of course, the federal government is leading the negotiation on the tariffs. August 1st is a worldwide deadline. No matter what happens on Friday, the province of Ontario is prepared to assist all of our businesses and our families. So we're prepared for all eventualities, but specifically to your question. It's really interesting. Last March, Premier Ford led a negotiation. We were in a period without a federal government. So the Premier really took charge, led a mission to Washington, and was able to secure any company that is USMCA compliant, or we call it NAFTA 2.0 compliant, receives their goods and can ship goods tariff-free. So as a result of that, somewhere between 92 and 95% of Canadian companies are actually at the moment tariff-free, which was a really big success story. We're hoping and pushing hard with the federal government that no matter what happens on Friday, from a tariff number or a tariff success, that our exemption in Canada of any company that is USMCA compliant continues. That's our real goal, and that would answer your question very specifically.
Thank you, Ministers. I'll follow up, and I'm not certain who would be best to answer this, but it is difficult, I think, for the public to understand what you mean by doubling. Doubling seems a great goal. Can you give me some context of what that means, the difficulty and the challenge of doubling the number?
I'm going to turn to the chair of the panel, and he may want to turn, frankly, to some of the leaders in this space. This is an opportunity to profile the leadership we have before us. So, James, take it away, and perhaps some of the folks from medical side may want to opine. Sure.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great question. The first thing I'll say is that it is a bold but achievable goal, and let me explain how we achieve that goal. The vast majority, from a volume perspective, of the isotopes that we produce here in Ontario come from reactor-based isotopes. So there's two ways of producing isotopes. You can produce isotopes in a cyclotron. You can produce isotopes in a reactor. The types of isotopes you can produce in one, you can't produce with the other. So you need that common network. Across Canada, we have a very large network of both. But particularly here in the province of Ontario, we have the 8 reactors at Bruce Power, the existing reactors at Pickering, the existing reactors at Darlington being refurbished, along with the McMaster facility. And now with the integrated long-term energy plan in place, and that very clear from an energy perspective, the length of those units being here frankly to the mid-2070s, what that is allowing is the operators of those units to equip those units with more production capability. And so whether that is increasing cobalt production that we're seeing in the Darlington units, whether it's the production of molybdenum-99 coming commercial operation at Darlington, at Bruce Power, we're increasing our cobalt production and our lutetium production, and then the 24/7 operation of the McMaster Research Reactor. So these are real concrete plans with real projects, with real investment, with existing technology to achieve that. And fundamentally, I think where the goal comes from is the fact that we know the global demand for isotopes is doubling in that same time frame. So this is really about, to be frank, Ontario continuing to meet that rise in demand that we have today. But we're achieving that from an infrastructure that is here, that is stable, that has investment plans. As I said, is it ambitious? Yes, but it is absolutely realistic. And what I would say, whether it's the United States as the world's largest radiopharmaceutical market, whether it's the growth in Europe, the growth in Asia, we're seeing the world is counting on Ontario and Canada to deliver on that doubling of capacity. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our press conference. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Okay, thank you.